Hello everyone, I am Border, also known as Borderwise, and welcome to Curse of the Dead Gods. This is an interesting game that, yeah, it's a roguelike. You play as this guy. You're wet, and you just want some shelter in the, sweltering, horrible existence that is probably somewhere in Central or South America, or at least a fictional fantasy version of it. And by gum, you walked into the wrong temple, dude. And I was gonna razz on the whole thing of like, you know, this guy is, you know, a colonist or whatever, and just, you know... But, you know what? It's fun. Clearly the native peoples around, around these parts... Damn, I tripped and thought I was playing the game for a second. Nope, this is a roguelike commentary. I should have said that sooner. Anyway, here we go. So we're starting a new game. This game is, like, kind of old, I guess. Hang on. I'm gonna do the thing I do in which I look things up on Google while I'm commentating. Because I didn't prepare enough for this. I'm a blinking silly billy. Curse of the... Oh, damn it, I hate the fact that my fingers are too warm and the phone is just like, what? Curse of the Dead Gods video game. When did this come out? 2021. Okay, it's not that old, but bearing in mind we're in 2024, 3 years old. See, I don't think that's old. Uh-oh. Oh no! The hand! The hand! And now you're in the temple, and you can never leave until you've beaten the absolute snot out of the dead gods. So yeah. Isometric, action RPG thingy, those little, that 5 dots on the bottom there are, what do we call it? They're the thingy. Oh yeah, try and stay in the light so you don't die. I'm going to look up the ancient Mayans, because, the last roguelike commentary I did, which was Bad North, people seem to quite like me just talking about history and all that stuff, so while the tutorial is happening on screen, and you can look at that if you really want to, I hope you want to, otherwise, why the hell does this video exist? Boy. I should have edited this out, but too late. You're gonna hear about the Mayans. Because I'm assuming this is Mayans. Or maybe Aztecs, Mayankatech. Why the hell is the first thing that comes up on Google some stupid TV series? Mayan civilization, you frickin' Google. Zombies. Alrighty. The Maya civilization was a Mesoamerican civilization that existed from antiquity to the early modern period. It is known by its ancient temples and glyphs. The Maya script is the most sophisticated and highly developed writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas. The civilization is also noted for its art, architecture, mathematics, calendar, and astronomical system. Also, advanced combat. Hold main attack for a while, then release to trigger a charged attack. Requires 1 stamina point. Little bit of a diversion from the whole Mayan thing. I generally hate stamina-based combat in this game. But not in this game specifically, but in games in general, I think it's unnecessary, and there are perfectly valid ways of going about it that don't require you to keep an eye on an arbitrary meter. Because, like, with stamina-based combat, you always have that thing of like, alright, so you get tired if you do a certain thing too much. You never rest, really. Like, walking doesn't drain your stamina, but attacking does. It's like, feels inconsistent somehow. Alright, back to the Mayan civilization. The Maya civilization developed in the Maya region, an area that today comprises southeastern Mexico, all of Guatemala and Belize, and the western portions of Honduras and El Salvador. It includes the northern lowlands of the Yucatan Peninsula and the Guatemalan highlands of the Sierra Madre, the Mexican state of Chiapas, southern Guatemala, El Salvador, and the southern lowlands of the Pacific Littoral Plain. Today, their descendants, known collectively as the Maya, number well over 6 million individuals, speak more than 28 surviving Mayan languages, and reside in nearly the same area as their ancestors. So, fun fact, the Maya aren't actually gone. Their descendants are still very much alive and well, and I wonder if any of them would be pissed off that this game is basically... I don't know, is this game cultural appropriation? I don't even know, really. They didn't use any real, gods from Mayan or Aztec or like Incan mythology or anything like that. At least I don't think so. It would be a little bit concerning if they did. Anyway, the Archaic period, before 2000, before Christmas, saw the first developments in agriculture and the earliest villages. The Pre-Classic period, circa 2000 before Christmas to 250, Angry Dog. Oh yeah, parries are a thing in this game too. Saw the establishment of the first complex societies in the Maya region, and the cultivation of the staple crops of the Maya diet, including maize, beans, squashes, and chili peppers. Oh hell yeah, chili. The first Maya cities developed around 750 before Christmas, and by 500 before Christmas, these cities possessed monumental architecture, including large temples with elaborate stucco facades. Facades? Hieroglyphic writing was being used in the Maya region by the 3rd century BC. In the late Pre-Classic, a number of large cities developed in the Patan Basin, and the city of Kaminalaljuyu. Hey, we finished the tutorial. Sick! Rose to prominence in the Guatemalan highlands. Beginning around 250 Angry Dog, the Classic period is largely defined as when the Maya were raising sculpted monuments with long count dates. This period saw the Maya civilization develop many city-states linked by a complex trade network. In the Maya lowlands, two great rivals, the cities of Tikal and Calakmul, became powerful. The Classic period also saw the intrusive intervention of the central Mexican city of Teotihuacan in Maya dynastic politics. I can't pronounce that word. In the 9th century, there was a widespread political collapse in the central Maya region. So, 9th century, just for a little bit of context, in the 9th century, you got, that's early Middle Ages over in Europe, so that's when, well, yeah, it's towards the late end. More towards the late end of the early Middle Ages over in Europe. That's when, like, people like Charlemagne were running around doing interesting things. I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not looking that up because even I have my limits. Okay, 9th century, there was a widespread political collapse in the central Maya region, resulting in civil wars, the abandonment of cities, and a northward shift of population. The post-Classic period saw the rise of Chichen Itza in the north and the expansion of the aggressive Quiche kingdom in the Guatemalan highlands. In the 16th century, the Spanish Empire colonized the Mesoamerican region, and a lengthy series of campaigns saw the fall of Nojpetan, N-O-J-P-E-T-E with a E wearing a comma as a hat, N, the last Maya city in 1697. Okay. Whew. Oh hey, more damage and darkness. Groovy. Also, this dude's sideburns are something to behold. Let's talk about the game for a little bit. You can probably tell it was taking me a while to warm back up to this. It's been a while since I played it. You would have seen that I had a saved game earlier. Also, I never really noticed how just well the enemies explode into, like, you know, bones and crap. Also, there is something to be said for the fact is that you're not fighting native peoples in this game. You're fighting undead horrors and monsters and stuff like that. So that's nice. Probably the native peoples might even approve of what you're doing. They're saying like, that temple, we stopped worshipping those guys for a long time. It's why they're dead gods. That's what you have to hope for. Like, certainly this is not a... Oh, I parried. Holy crap, that never happens. Charge attack, charge attack. Okay. Let's talk about the mines a bit more. I think, actually, now I'll think about it, the dead civilization in this game is modeled more on the Aztecs, perhaps? I'm not sure, but maybe I should read more about them. Maybe half the video I can read about Mayan stuff, and the other half I can read about the Aztecs. And then I can talk about the game. Haha! I don't think so. Rule during the classic period, this is still Mayans we're talking about, centered on the concept of the divine king, who was thought to act as a mediator between mortals and the supernatural realm. Kingship was usually, but not exclusively, patrilineal, and power normally passed to the eldest son. A prospective king was expected to be a successful war leader as well as a ruler. Closed patronage systems, were the dominant force in Maya politics, though how patronage affected the political makeup of a kingdom varied from city-state to city-state. By the late classic period, the aristocracy had grown in size, reducing the previously exclusive power of the king. That's a familiar thing, so again, like, I tend to view things like from the lens of a medievalist, because, like, you know, medieval history was my specialty, and that's something that tends to crop up in history fairly often. It's just that there's always tends to be kind of a struggle between the king and nobility at some point, because, like, you know, that's the thing with people who are in power. They want more. And, like, if you're the king, you better keep an eye on the aristocracy who support you, because they can stop supporting you whenever they feel like it, really. Anyway, the Maya developed sophisticated art forms using both perishable and non-perishable materials, including wood, jade, obsidian, ceramics, sculpted stone monuments, stucco, finely painted murals, and dung. I made up that last one. Please don't quote me on that. I was just checking if you were still listening. Maya cities tended to expand organically, as opposed to inorganic cities. The city centers comprise ceremonial and administrative complexes, surrounded by an irregularly shaped sprawl of residential districts, spike traps optional. Different parts of a city were often linked by causeways. Architecturally, city buildings included palaces, pyramid temples, ceremonial ball courts. Oh yeah, the Mayan ball game, that's a whole thing. The losers were sacrificed to the gods, or I think they were. Who knows anymore? And structures especially aligned for astronomical observation. The Maya elite were literate and developed a complex system of hieroglyphic writing. Theirs was the most advanced writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas. So Columbian is referring to Columbus, by the way, who is kind of a dick. You probably already knew that, but it's worth mentioning again. He was a bit of a tool. Why is it that the people who come to visit a place first are the people wanting to exploit it? It's because greed is a powerful motivator. He wanted money and spices. Spices for money and money for spice. What was I talking about? The Maya recorded their history and ritual knowledge in screenfold books, of which only 3 uncontested examples remain, the rest having been destroyed by the Spanish. Mucho gracias, conquistadors. In addition, a great many examples of Maya texts can be found on stelae and ceramics. Stelae are, what are they? Hang on, I'm gonna double check what stelae are, because I know what they are, I can't explain it. Okay. Alright, so it's a tall sculpted stone shaft, and are often associated with low circular stones referred to as altars, although their actual function is uncertain. It's basically, it's a carving. It's a stone carving. The Maya developed a highly complex series of interlocking ritual calendars, and employed mathematics that included one of the earliest known instances of the explicit 0 in human history. As a part of their religion, the Maya practiced human sacrifice. Let's read more on that, because that's fun and interesting. Human sacrifice in Maya culture. I wonder, like, could I write reading of Wikipedia as a business? You know what? That thought kind of decayed into nothing. During the pre-Columbian asshole era, human sacrifice in Maya culture was the ritual offering of nourishment to the gods and goddesses. Blood was viewed as a potent source of nourishment for the Maya deities, and the sacrifice of a living creature was a powerful blood offering. By extension, no, carpal tunnel has given me visions of madness. That's me when I play this game too much. What was I talking about? By extension, the sacrifice of human life was the ultimate offering of blood to the gods, and the most important Maya rituals culminated in human sacrifice. Generally, only high-status prisoners of war were sacrificed, and lower-status captives were used for labor. That is excellent incentive to lie about your social status if the Mayans catch you. Human sacrifice among the Maya is evident from at least the Classic period, which is circa Angry Dog 250 to 900, right through to the final stages of the Spanish conquest in the 7th century. Human sacrifice as depicted in Classic Maya art is mentioned in Classic period glyph texts and has been verified archaeologically by analysis of skeletal remains from the Classic and Post-Classic, which is circa Angry Dog 900 to 1524 periods. Thank you, aeroplane. Wait, no. That might be a helicopter. What was it about? Additionally, human sacrifice is described in a number of late Maya and early Spanish colonial texts, including the Madrid Codex, the Quiche Epic Popol Vuh, the Quiche Tutelo de Toniticapan, the Quiche language Rabinil Achi, the Annals of the Cachiquels, the Yucatec songs of Ditzbalche, and Diego de Landa's Relación de las Cosas de Yucatán. Huh. Interesting. Let's read about methods, because that's fun. Important rituals. Well, the first section is decapitation. I feel considerably better about breaking this temple, because, call me biased, human sacrifice is not cool. Like, you know, nothing quite makes you, like, you know, go easier on the Catholics for, like, eating the flesh and blood of Christ. To remember that religions of the past sometimes were much more literal about flesh and blood being used in rituals. So, if there are any Catholics watching this, you know what? The bread is weird, the bread and wine is weird, but at least you're not actually carving people's hearts out or decapitating them. At least, not as part of the religion. I don't know what you do in your spare time, I will not judge unless you get caught. Actually, I might judge you a little bit. Alright, important rituals such as the dedication of major building projects, or the enthronement of a new ruler required a human sacrificial offering. The sacrifice of an enemy king was the most prized offering, and such a sacrifice involved the decapitation of the captive ruler in a ritual reenactment of the decapitation of the Maya maize god, maize as in corn, by the Maya death gods. In Angry Dog 738, the vassal king Kaak Tuil Chanyopat of Kirigua captured his overlord, Uaxakajun Ubwa. I am terribly sorry, I am not pronouncing any of this right, of Copan, and a few days later he ritually decapitated him. Such royal sacrifices were often recorded in Maya script with the axe event glyph. The decapitation of an enemy king may have been performed as part of a ritual ball game, reenacting the victory of the Maya hero twins over the gods of the underworld. Sacrifice by decapitation. Oh yeah, the laser things. Ugh, they're a pain in the... Gold! I'm terribly sorry, this was supposed to be a history lesson. Sacrifice by decapitation is depicted in classic period Maya art, and sometimes took place after the victim was tortured, being variously beaten, scalped, burnt, or disemboweled. Catholics are looking better by the moment in comparison to these guys. Sacrifice by decapitation is depicted on reliefs at Chichen Itza in two of the ball courts, the Great Ball Court and the Monjas Ball Court. Monjas? M-O-N-J-A-S. The hero twins myth recounted in the Popol Vuh relates how one of each pair of twins, the hero twins themselves and their father and uncle, was decapitated by their ball game opponents. Heart removal. Heart extractions and sacrifice have been viewed as a supreme religious expression among the ancient Maya. That's in quotes. Somebody said that. The removal of the still-beating heart, or sometimes self-immolation, there's a clarify there, was considered a great offering and meal for the gods. It began with a dispersal of blood extracted either from the mouth, from the mouth, nose, ears, fingers, or penis, typically with a sharp tool made from animal bone, such as a stingray spine. I remember hearing that about, like, the Mayans, is like the, you know, the willing blood sacrifice thing is like you would, you know, pull a rope of thorns through your dick. One of the downsides of being Mayan royalty is that royal blood was better, which means that, yeah, they were... It wasn't that someone else would bleed your dick. You had to bleed your own dick. You still want to be Mayan royalty? I don't think so. Oh, hey, a hammer. This is a great weapon. I love the sky hammer. Just, you know, you just electrocute things. It's great. Also, that is way too big to be a functional warhammer. I'm a weapons nerd sometimes. And I will not apologize, except I am sorry. Okay, what was I saying? Alright. They then positioned... This is after this... Okay, dispersal of blood extracted from the painful bits. They then positioned the victim on a stone or wooden altar. Next, access to the heart would be achieved with a variety of procedures and techniques. Most of these techniques were proved by examination of the post-mortem injuries on bones surrounding the heart, such as the sternum and ribs. Oh no! The carpal tunnel! It's back! Oh no! Bloodlust! Oh no! This one's actually not too bad. What else are we talking about? Okay, methods include vertical axial sternotomy, left transverse thoracotomy, transverse bilateral sternothoracotomy, or transdiaphragmatic access. Interesting that, like, there's actual medical terms for how you pull someone's heart out of their chest. Makes sense, though. Most probable access would be accessible from below the diaphragm, as this allowed for easy access and not much blockage from bones. Next, segmenting and fracturing the sternum and ribs all defended this. As in, like, if they can tell that that's what they did because the bones were damaged in that way from the places they found. And that's why I love the Sky Hammer. Because it's good. Right, following access, the heart was exposed to retrieval. If access through the sternum, the ribs would be pulled apart, or tissue would be cut through if access through the diaphragm. The actual removal of the heart would then be continued by cutting any attaching ligaments with a bifacial tool. Finally, offering of the heart would take place with either special positioning or through burning. At this time, blood would also be collected from the victim. The ritual will end with mutilation of the body, usually through dismemberment or burned. They would then dispose of the body or reutilize it for other purposes. Sometimes that included eating bits of it, from what I remember. I could be wrong. Let's see if they talk about it. Alrighty. During the post-classic period, circa 900 to 1524, Angry Dog, the most common form of human sacrifice was heart extraction, influenced by the method used by the Aztecs in the Valley of Mexico. I was about to say, these guys, like, copied all kinds of terrible ideas from each other. Probably good ones as well. But also, please do not sacrifice, I don't know, the mayor of the next town over to please the gods. It's not cool, guys. Don't do that. Alright, so this usually took place in the courtyard of a temple or upon the summit of the Pyramid Temple. The sacrifice was stripped and painted blue, which was the color representing sacrifice, and was made to wear a peaked headdress. Not only would they, like, rip your heart out, they would strip you naked and make you wear a funny hat. That just seems needlessly cruel. Alrighty. 4 blue painted attendants representing the 4 chucks of the cardinal directions, that's CHAACS, stretched the sacrifice out over a convex stone that pushed the victim's chest upwards. An official referred to as a Nacom, I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, in Landes Relación de las Cosas de Yucatán, used a sacrificial knife made from flint to cut into the ribs just below the victim's left breast and pull out the still beating heart. The Nacom then passed the heart to the officiating priest, or Chalan, who smeared blood upon the image of the temple's deity. Alrighty, so that's the thing. Depending on the exact ritual, sometimes the 4 chucks would throw the corpse down the pyramid steps to the courtyard below, where it would be skinned by assistant priests except for the hands and feet. The Chalan would then remove his ritual attire and dress in the skin of the sacrificial victim, before performing a ritual dance that symbolized the rebirth of life. If it was a notably courageous warrior who had been sacrificed, Then the corpse would be, alright, here we go, I was right. Then the corpse would be cut into portions and parts would be eaten by attending warriors and other bystanders. The hands and feet were given to the Chelan, who, if they had belonged to a war captive, wore the bones as a trophy. Archaeological investigations indicate that heart sacrifice was practiced as early as the Classic period. Arrow sacrifice! Some rituals involved the sacrifice being killed with bows and arrows. The sacrificial victim was stripped and painted blue and made to wear a peaked cap in a similar manner to the preparation for heart sacrifice. The victim was bound to a stake during a ritual dance and blood was drawn from the genitals and smeared onto the image of the presiding deity. Okay, that's again, just mean. It's not enough you're going to shoot the person with arrows, you're going to bleed their dick first. Or, well, they say genitals. I'm guessing, well, that's the thing, if they're sacrificing warriors, I'm guessing that means mostly men. But ladies, you watching this, try and imagine yourself in that position as well. Because, who am I kidding? Maybe they did sacrifice women as well. Okay, a white symbol was painted over the victim's heart, which served as a target for the archers. The dancers then passed in front of the sacrificial victim, shooting arrows in turn at the target until the whole chest was filled with arrows. Yeesh! Sacrifice with bow and arrow is recorded as far back as the Classic period, circa 250 to 900, and was depicted with graffiti upon the walls of Tikal Temple 2. What? The songs of Ditsbalche are a collection of Yucatec Maya poems written down in the mid-18th century. 2 poems deal with arrow sacrifice, and they are believed to be copies of poems. Believed to be copies of poems dated to the 15th century, during the post-Classic period. The first, called Little Arrow, is a song calling upon the sacrifice to be brave and take comfort. If I was to sacrifice, I would be inventing new swear words as they were tying me to the thing to be shot full of arrows. I would feel not honored at all, but then again, that's my 21st century bias. 21st century Western developed world bias, actually. Just a fair warning to anybody watching this, if you try sacrificing me to the gods, I'm not going to be cooperative, and I'm going to be as blasphemous as I possibly can, in the, in the desperate hopes that your gods choke on me. Alright, so the second poem is entitled Dance of the Archer and is a ritual dedicated to the rising sun. It includes instructions to the archer. The archer is instructed upon how to prepare his arrows and to dance 3 times around the sacrifice. The archer is instructed not to shoot until the second circuit and to be careful to make sure the sacrifice dies slowly. Damn! On the third circuit, whilst still dancing, the archer is instructed to shoot twice. A similar scene is described in the annals of the Kakchikals? K-A-Q-C-H-I-K-E-L-S, where an important prisoner is bound to a scaffold. The Kakchikal warriors begin a ritual blood dance and proceed to shoot him full of arrows. In the late post-classic K'iche' language drama Rabban al-Archi, an important war captive is tied to a stake, representing the mythological maize tree, again, corn, and is sacrificed by being shot with arrows. The text compares the archers to hunters and their sacrifice to game. Where are we in terms of the video? I'm not sure. I believe next is a boss, and then I'm just going to quickly go over the last few things. Bloodletting, bleed them out, animal sacrificing, sacrifice animals, other methods. Oh, disemboweling. Oh, a woman, oh. Alright, well, women could get entombed alive to accompany a deceased noblewoman. A deceased nobleman. My bad. Also drowned. Alright. Thrown into, a flooded cave. Oh. What the hell? At times, sacrifices were tightly bound into a ball and were bounced in a ritual reenactment of the ball game. That's just rude. Burning victims alive. Dancing in the skin of a skinned victim. Taking head trophies, cannibalism, drinking a deceased relative's bathwater, and sprinkling sacrificial blood around sanctuaries. Well, I have stopped feeling any sympathy for the civilization whose temple we are desecrating at the moment. Ah, damn it. I remember I struggled hugely against this guy when I first fought him. As you can see, I'm not doing super well. But yeah. Yeah, this guy, his pets are the biggest problem. Yeah, I've set you on fire. Whee! This is the bit where we remember that a video game is playing. So don't feel too sympathetic for this dude. He's probably not cool. He probably ate somebody. Whee! Yay! Die, you crazy person. So yeah, that's the game. Whee! Lots of skulls, lots of jade rings. We can't progress at the moment, so back we go. So this game's fun. And I actually really quite like just reading, providing historical context kind of to the inspiration of the game we're playing in these commentaries. It's great fun. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's almost... Oh no, there's 2 minutes... What the hell am I doing for... Oh, excuse me, 2 minutes. Oh, it's doing stuff. Blood emblems and all that crap. You know what? We can keep reading about the Maya. We can totally do that. Let's go to warfare. Warfare was prevalent in the Maya world. Military campaigns were launched for a variety of reasons, including the control of trade routes and tribute, raids to take captives, scaling up to the complete destruction of an enemy state. Little is known about Maya military organization, logistics, or training. Warfare is depicted in Maya art from the Classic period, and wars and victories are mentioned in hieroglyphic inscriptions. Unfortunately, the inscriptions do not provide information upon the causes of war or the form it took. In the 8th to 9th centuries, intensive warfare resulted in the collapse of the kingdoms of the Passtech region of western Patan. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly at all. The rapid abandonment of Aguateca by its inhabitants has provided a rare opportunity to examine the remains of Maya weaponry in situ. Aguateca was stormed by unknown enemies around 810 Angry Dog. That's Anno Domini, by the way. The Angry Dog is a joke. Who overcame its formidable defenses and burned the royal palace. The elite inhabitants of the city either fled or were captured and never returned to collect their abandoned property. The inhabitants of the periphery abandoned the site soon after. This is an example of intensive warfare carried out by an enemy in order to eliminate a Maya state rather than subjugate it. Research at Aguateca indicated that Classic period warriors were primarily members of the elite, which makes sense. Again, comparing it to what I know slightly better, it does help to keep whatever your fighting force is invested in society, which usually means, at the very least, the more expendable members of the upper class. So that's like the equivalent would be, rough equivalent, would be knights in medieval Europe, samurai in Japan, and yeah. That's all I can think of right now. There's probably other examples as well. And the funny thing is, like, it just occurred to me that, like, in the Islamic world, the Mamluks, slave warriors, they earned more status over time and eventually overthrew the caliphs at one point. Don't ask me exactly, like, when that happened, because I don't quite remember. And also, this video's over. So, I hope you enjoyed me rambling about the Mayans while I... mostly somewhat related video game was playing in the background. Do give this game a go. Curse of the Dead Gods is quite fun. It's a great action roguelike. And, like, you can stop feeling bad about invading another, like, you know, invading another country, because, like, whoever built this temple and whoever worshipped these gods, they were assholes. So, yeah, kill their undead servants all you want. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in whatever game comes next. Farewell!